So chapter 8 found the rabbit lounging in a reclining chair watching a football games. And the rabbit, for some reason, he was opining, and he might have been a little bit depressed because it was a certain time of year when there was not too much greens or too much healthy vegetation, and he was waiting for some of the fall things. Some of the things you could harvest in the fall, they didn't have too much Queen Anne's lace. They didn't have too many, gardens, and so the rabbit, he couldn't harvest too much. And the woods, the rabbit didn't like nuts, and there's nuts that you could eat from the previous fall. Still plenty of nuts and legumes scattering the grounds. There were certain berries like autumn olive berries. You could get a lot of good autumn olive berries, and you could get a lot of good poke berries. You could eat a lot of pine seeds. And if you wanted to go to the little ponds and the rivers and the estuaries, you could get fiddler crabs, you could get pincher crabs, and you could get the little crabs that scoot, little tiny lobsters, crayfish crabs, little tiny crayfish crabs you could get. But also you could catch good fish. You could stand there and catch a fish with your hand or your beak or your rabbit paw. But the rabbit was too lazy. The rabbit, he ate some bananas and some Fruit Loops. And he liked Red Hots. One time he said, those look like wintergreen berries. The rabbit said, those look like wintergreen berries. But it turned out they were Red Hots. Cinnamon, they call them cinnamon imperils. And cinnamon imperils. And the rabbit ate a bunch of cinnamon imperils, one at a time though. So he never burned his mouth. He never got verklempt. He never got stuffed up. He never got indigestion. He was always okay. And he ate the imperils very, very rapidly. Sort of the way a Guatemalan man, or a team of Guatemalans will take out and build a sand trap on a golf course under construction with just some hose and some pickaxes. They can carve it out of granite, or if it's just shot rock from a strip job on the top of the mountain, the mountaintop removal strip job, then they could, Guatemalans, they could carve out through the shot rock. They could carve out a bunker that would be beautiful. They could carve out a bunker. It'd be gorgeous, and everyone would love it. And they could do it in a half a day. By lunchtime, 10 Guatemalans can do the work of a operator making $35-40 an hour for 8 or 9 hours, and in 5 hours for equal amount of money or a little bit less, but it'd be hand dug, handcrafted, very beautiful. And there's no beating it up as you go from one spot to the other. When you dig it out with the Guatemalans, you don't have to then tram a big heavy piece of equipment to the next thing. If it rains, the Guatemalans like it better. If it rains, the Guatemalans like it better. They can dig better. It's cooler. It's more refreshing. They can work even quicker. They might do a sand trap by lunch, maybe a piece of another sand trap. They move their equipment. The second sand trap, they finish way before quitting time, and they go move all their equipment and start. They stake out and they begin the process of the third sand trap. So they're averaging over 2 sand traps per day in the rain. And the equipment man, he doesn't want to operate because it makes tracks. It digs up the ground and beats it up, and you have to go back and fix everything. It costs them more money, so they don't come out in the rain. But the Guatemalans, they come out in the rain. But the rabbit, he was a little bit bored, and he was watching the football game, and he was wondering, who could it be? Could it be Stafford? Could it be Tom Brady? In chapter 8, the little rabbit had a couple of beers sitting there in his lounge chair. He had eaten a few Imperials, a couple Cheetos, and he had eaten a little bit of cheese. He liked the block cheese. He had a big block of Swiss cheese, imported Swiss cheese that he cut into cubes. He loved it. He ate, he drank about 3 beers, and he was wondering, could it be Stafford? Could it be Tom Brady? In chapter 8, his biggest focus was, could it be a Stafford? Or could it be a Tom Brady? Listen. So I think it was the Chargers, and I think it was a Stafford, but who knows? You're not going to find out in chapter 8, but perhaps Tom Brady comes back. But right now it's 21-7 in the beginning of the third quarter, and Matthew Stafford seems as if he's paid off.
Jackson really doesn't do much, but the safety, Edwards, he was biting as though he was expecting Deshaun Jackson to run a square in. And he was going to try to drive on that. And as he's trying to drive on it, he falls. And so nobody around. Extra point is good. 75 yards. So one of the great deep threats in this game over the past couple of decades. There's another deep threat. McVay showing his speed.